Did you know that matching a knockdown texture is probably the hardest thing to do, especially if you got a glossier paint? Well, I'm going to explain why it can end up looking like this and how to avoid that right after this. Hey, thanks for stopping by our channel here at That Kilted Guy Videos. Once again, we appreciate all of you. It's been a ride so far. This is March of 2019 and we're gaining like 75 or 80 subscribers a day. We're at almost 10,000. It's getting really cool to help so many of you do this stuff, because it's my goal here at That Kilted Guy Videos to teach you guys how to do these home improvement projects, and I'm going to teach you how to do it right so that you can save money and take pride in your own workmanship. So I'm going to show you today how to match a knockdown texture if you've done a repair like this, and why it can go terribly wrong. It's one of the hardest ones to match. Not so much to match, but how to spray it properly, and I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about, because you can really screw this one up bad. Now, if you're doing something like this orange peel texture, this is another sample I've got, and I'll show you this up on the screen. But if you're doing this kind of a repair, let's say this was your repair, it's much easier, and I'm going to demonstrate that too, and you'll see why there's this huge difference. It's not so much about matching the texture in this case, it's about applying it properly. Now, before I go much further, I want to point out that we got a lot of good information in the description area down below our video, and the way you find that is look at the title down below, click on the arrow to the right of it. It'll pull down this whole description area with links to our Amazon store where you can pick up all these tools and supplies that we show you on here, and I've got recommendations for you so you don't go off on the wrong path. And we've got good free information like our free how-to guides and so on. Just some other good information, so check out that description down below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we'd appreciate having you as a subscriber as well. Just click that subscribe button, but be sure and click the bell icon if you want to get notified each time we put out a video. That way you won't miss any. So let's get into this. I've already pretended to do a repair here. I've feathered out my edges, I've sanded this down, so we don't have to do any of that stuff. We're just going to spray it, and then I'm going to talk about why you can mess it up and how not to. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this sample here. I'm going to pretend this is a repair. It doesn't really matter that there's no mud there. We're going to respray that, and I'll show you how easy that is to do in a sense. I have a separate video that I will be putting out. I have one out about matching orange peel, but I actually have shot another video. I just haven't got around to editing it, releasing it, about how to spray orange peel and all the variables. It's going to walk you through how to adjust all the multiple variables of airflow, air pressure, nozzle size, trigger pull, mud thickness, and so on. So we're not going to get into that today. If you want to know how to do that, you can look for our upcoming video or the previous one. The upcoming one is just going to be a little bit better. The one about knockdown I've already released. It looks like this thumbnail here, although that sometimes changes. I'll try and put the knockdown video at the end, in the end screen that pops up, and you can click on that if you want to see how to adjust all the variables on a knockdown texture. Okay, so I'm going to spray this, and normally we'd go ahead and spray around this outer edge. That's what one of the differences is with an orange peel. Okay, that's about all we need on that. So you can kind of see that everything just kind of blends in, no big deal. Now let's do the knockdown. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this, and I'm going to do the overlapping spray just like I did on that one. And then I'm going to spray more exact over here, and I'll show you what the difference is. Okay, again, I'm not going to get into how to match texture. If you want to know that, watch that other video where I explained it in more detail. But what you can see here is that I tried to minimize how much texture went outside of the repair area. Now, I'm going to show you why that's important here in a minute. But whenever you're doing a knockdown texture, you have to spray it on and let it sit for a little bit. And the moisture has to evaporate a little, it thickens up, and then it will knock down right. If you knock it down too soon, it will just smear. So I'm going to demonstrate that on a separate piece here. So what I'm going to do is spray this brown sheetrock here, and all this is a sheetrock that I painted this color so it stands out, makes the texture stand out easier. I'll spray that about like that, and then I'll immediately knock it down. Okay, there's the problem. If you don't let it set up properly, you just get a big smear. So we'll let that set up and that set up a little bit. When it's ready, I'll come back, knock them down for you, and I'll show you why this is going to go very wrong in a minute. Okay, I've given this about 5 minutes roughly. On my other video, I explained more about what to look for, how you know how long to let it set up before you knock it down and so on. I also discuss things like what to use to knock down, because you can use this plastic Lexan knife, the magic trowel, and you can even use a metal knife. And I'm about to do a video here in a few minutes, and I'm going to compare these three and show you the differences, and that also affects how long you let this set up. It looks like it's been about the right amount of time. So normally what I do, if I'm not sure, is I test a little area and see if it looks like it knocked down okay, then I go ahead. So let's go ahead and do this. So that's knocking down decent, but let's go ahead and go all the way across. So I could use just a little bit more texture in here, which you can add at this point, just a little bit. But overall the match is pretty close. But if you see what the difference is out here where it's painted, what happens is we're relying on this mud to lose some of its moisture. So basically set up a little bit, dry up a little bit so that it's not so thin. When we spray it over the painted surface, the paint isn't very porous at all, whereas the drywall mud is very porous. So it sucks the moisture out of it, and the air pulls some out. On the painted side, it doesn't do that, and I've actually had it be a lot worse than this, but you notice I sprayed this a little bit light on purpose because it shows that here it didn't knock down very much. Here it knocked down a lot. So if I did that all the way around the edge, what it would do is give me a band of heavier knockdown, and often it'll even smear. I've had to wait 15 minutes for the painted side to set up before, back when I didn't know about this as much. The secret to matching a texture like this when you've got a repair is to keep your texture as close to the repair area as possible. The more you get out here, the more it's going to knock down and smear. And if you use something like I think even a magic trowel or metal knife, it'll be even worse. If we go over this right now with a metal knife, same pressure, you see that everything smears a little bit flatter, including out here. And that's one reason I use this. It's very gentle on texture. You can knock it down sooner. So that's the trick to matching a knockdown texture repair. I hope that helped you out. If you like that, we'd appreciate a thumbs up, and be sure and comment. Let us know if you've used this method before or if you've had this problem before. And hey, if you appreciate what we've done for you, I hope you'll consider supporting us on Patreon. There's a link in the description. And subscribe and all that good stuff, and we'll see you on the next video.